All right, Adam, this week we're harnessing the power of the seasons in Ari, Secret of Seasons.
Dad's winter crystal?
All right, this week, Adam, we got to check out a pretty cool kind of platformer action adventure 3D top-down. I'm gonna call it, Zelda style game. Like this was a pretty cool game, Ari and the Secret of Seasons, and we got a pretty kind of interesting one here because the way the game mechanics kind of work is that there's a group of seasons that we kind of run through here. The seasons we're used to, spring, summer, fall, winter, all those. And we have these abilities that kind of go along with each season that we kind of use to solve puzzles along the way here. I mean, I'm not going to get into too much crazy detail yet, but it's a very interesting approach to this style of game because I've never even heard of this game, and it's on all platforms. It's on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and even Nintendo Switch. And I can see how this game works really well on all those platforms because of the style of game it is. What did you think jumping into this one?
Initially, I thought it was a pretty fun game. When jumping in, it definitely had that Zelda feel. You don't start with all those abilities, right? You gotta complete dungeons to get your winter ability or your summer ability or your autumn ability, and then that helps you progress through the game. So that's definitely fun. It was a fun game for sure. The puzzles are pretty challenging. There's a ton of missions you can do in every spot you go to. So yeah, those are some of the good things I liked about it. Yeah, so obviously you're Ari, and you've taken it upon yourself to replace your dad at the Council of the Seasons. And your brother's gone missing a couple weeks ago, so your dad's too distraught to go, and he's one of the leaders of the council. So that's just the start of your adventure in this one.
Yeah, so basically what happens is Ari's tasked with going to this Council of the Seasons, but on the way there she has to complete a bunch of quests, and this kind of really introduces you to how the mechanics and kind of quests in this game work as you kind of venture from home to this Council of the Seasons. So you take your father's orb, or crystal they call it, like winter crystal, and that allows you to start kind of uncovering how some of the puzzles work in this game. So with the winter crystal, you may be able to freeze over a lake and create a bridge to get to an island where you then maybe move to another position from there. Or you make platforms in the sky by lighting up these special orbs that are kind of marked on the map. And as you get, kind of progress through, you start to use the different seasons to achieve, different things. So we get into one town that is completely taken over by snow, and we have this summer season that allows us to, maybe when we talk to this person, they're freezing in the snow, you actually won't get any information until you use your ability and kind of warm them up, and then they'll talk to you and you can progress in certain missions. So there's a bit of variety, but what I notice is when we go from town to town, we start kind of getting the same types of quests. We're not getting a whole ton of variety when it comes to what we're doing. It's a lot of retrieve and return style quests. So it would be nice to see maybe a little more variety there, because as we travel from town to town, it's not as populated necessarily as I would want. I mean, we have enemy NPCs kind of scattered around the map, but we don't even have to fight them if we don't want to, because there's really no advantage. I mean, other than brushing up your combat skills, you don't necessarily have to fight them because you're not necessarily retrieving anything from them. You could just run by them and continue on with the story. So that, to me, that just seems like, well, it seems a bit of a waste. So that took a bit of a hit there.
Yeah, definitely. Like the guys don't even drop health when you kill them half the time, or coins that you can purchase more costumes. It would have been nice to see some of that, or even, an XP element where you can upgrade your stuff instead of just using the coins. So yeah, I definitely know what you mean by that. And yeah, you can't just sneak your way through everybody. Every once in a while, they're in front of a door, you're gonna have to fight them. And the combat definitely is pretty fun. I like the way they did the combat in this. It's pretty fluid. The enemies I did find, I don't know if you found this, I found the enemies pretty easy to kill, like 1, 2, they're pretty much done. I didn't die from the enemies too often. So when you get into the dungeons and in and around the environments, there are a lot of puzzles where you have to use, the elements you've acquired. And the puzzles I did find, challenging and fun. They're not short. Some of the missions tend to be really short, but the puzzles I found were, pretty complete and pretty intuitive. And then you get into that big boss battle and you start fighting them. You definitely start to see some of the issues then.
Yeah, and you know what? We do talk about issues here because the devs have come out and put kind of an announcement out on all platforms that they do know that there are some graphical glitches and gameplay issues in this game, and they're working hard to clear a lot of them up. They have cleared a few up to this date, and they are working on another large update to hopefully kind of clear up some of the other major issues that we're seeing in this game, because right now we're playing on Xbox, and I know there's been some major issues on PS4. Xbox's issues have seemed to just stick with more graphical, and you do notice that there's a lot of clipping. Like you said, in the boss battles, you find yourself every once in a while when you're fighting the boss, you are completely inside the boss's model, and it's like, okay, this is the camera angles start to get a little wonky on you at that point, and it becomes a little more difficult, right? And it's a bit of a hindrance to kind of complete the missions that you're on and things like that. Like I noticed, there's an area, like I said, it's covered in snow, and then I use the summer ability and it turns into a beach, but as I start moving around, depending on which way I'm looking, the land goes from beach to snow, beach to snow, beach to snow. Like it's not necessarily as smooth as you want it to be, right? So, but again, like I said, they're working on it, so it's good that they're taking community involvement here and trying to improve some of the issues that they have in the game. But again, the longer these issues stick around, the harder it is going to be for people to want to stick around in this game. So hopefully they can get this done quickly enough that everybody can kind of just keep enjoying their adventure in this one. So Adam, our time in the seasons has been pretty good. We've had some hot days, we've had some cold days. If we got to score this one, what are you going to give it?
I'm definitely thinking a 7 out of 10 from me.
All right, man. You know what? I'm right there with you. I think there's a really good game at its core here, and they're working on some of the issues we have. I think graphically this game looks really good for the adventure you're playing through. I thought the voice acting was done really, really well. It's comical at times. You know what? Overall, I think it's a game you can have a good time. Hopefully they can get these bugs fixed and everybody can enjoy themselves, because I'm right there with a 7 as well. Ari is a great action-adventure story with amusing characters and really good combat mechanics, but the graphical hang-ups and camera issues make it tough to continue at times.